Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we will be covering about the DW functions or data weave functions for URL system and mule specific classes. So it will be divided into three parts. First of all, we will be looking into the URL based um, functions. So in URL, or you can say URI specific, there are many such requirements in which we need to pass something specific within the URL, like this particular example, a specific space top space secret space folder. So basically a string with a lot of white spaces in between. So how we can append this particular URL path within our main URI, so that we are going to cover in this particular use case. So let me open up the preview as well, just for better understanding. So in order to use the different functions available for URI, just make sure you are importing this DW core URL. And I have taken one variable and I have specified a string value to it. It could be anything in real time. Okay. Now we will be going through the different functions which are being available in this class and try to understand how we can use it in different scenarios. The first one is the parse URI. Parse URI look out for a URL inside it. So for example, I have given this particular URL which says MuleSoft.com integration solutions API 360-degree view customer. Okay, so the parse URI breaks it down into the multiple elements. Is it is a valid URI? True. What is the raw? Raw, that is the one which we have already provided as an argument. Who is the host? Host and authority, in most of the cases it remains same. So www.mulesoft.com, that is the domain or the hosting party details are being there. After .com, it's usually the path which is being covered. After that, there is a scheme, like whether it is a HTTP or HTTPS. Then is it a absolute one? And yes, it's true. And is it opaque? Yes, it is a false one. Okay, so basically it breaks it down the main URI which is being passed as an argument into the multiple elements, and accordingly you can make use of it in your any business logic if required. Okay, now coming to the second part of it, that is encode URI. So what happens sometimes, like we need to pass these particular values as well during in the URI itself. So just have a note of this, like there is a space in between, then again there is some space, and there is some space again. So in order to make sure we are accounting these spaces, what does encode URI do? It basically insert the special characters or percentage 20 for the white spaces, and it creates a beautiful URI out of it. Similarly, if I just take this one as the URI or the argument for the decode URI, it will just give me the original one which I have tried for encoding purpose. Now let's go to the encode URI component. So encode URI, this will be the same as putting the percentage 20 path. So here you can see percentage 20 is being appended for every white space, and similarly is for the below one as well. The other one is not to hex. That is what it will do. It will convert the special characters into the equivalent hex notation. So it is converting those into the URI format, and the next one is not to hex. So this one is to converting these particular special characters into the hexadecimal state, whereas this is the normal URI. So if you compare both of these, in this it is a hexadecimal value of semicolon, comma, slash, question mark, all this stuff. It has been converted into hexadecimal, whereas this one is the plain URI. The next one is about the encode URI component, which what it does basically, it is being not being encoded and it is being marked as such directly. So this will be taken as a text content, and you can make use of it as and when required. Similarly, it is for the next one as well. So um, more or less encode URI component and encode URI works in a similar fashion in most of the cases. Now we are talking about decode URI component. Decode URI component does exactly opposite of what encoding was doing. So percentage 20 will be removed and the white space will be replaced by it. Okay. So here we are able to see decode after decode there is percentage 20 and then it marks for space. Similarly, when this is being decoded, it is being marked to the special character length, and similarly for this one as well, it is being marked to uh, the uh, the special characters. But there is a change in the character length or the character which are being specified. Now the next thing, let's suppose we have this particular website, examplewebsite.com slash, after that there is a page.html, but in between that we need to insert something, that is this URL path, that is this specific top secret folder, and after that page HTML should be appended. So how to insert this particular white space based URL paths within the main URI? You have to use the compose method. So there are two ways to do that. Either you can pass it as an argument, or you can use it in this format. So I prefer the second one, but let's first go to the first one and then we will come to this one as well. So compose, and after that there are round brackets, and inside that you have to pass two um, parameters in square brackets basically. In the first part you will be sending the initial root URI and the last trailing path of it, and after that comma, and you have to specify what you want to append, and it comes with uh, dollar sign and URL path as usual, like we are referring the path variable. So what it will do basically, it will append the percentage 20 as required. The compose will do the same thing as encode URI is doing, but it is going to append the thing within between these two strings or URIs. In order to do a simple way, compose, just do a back what we say backs apostrophes, and then you have to pass up to this path. Then you have to specify the URL path with the dollar sign because we are using this variable. After that page.html, and you have to close this braces or the apostrophe. Now both of these are being resulting in the same output. So it depends on your level of comfort, which one you are able to use, or which one clicks you at the time of execution. So this was all about the URL based DW core URL functions. The next thing I will be covering about the system based functions. So basically, let me open the preview of this as well. I'm using Mac system. So in Mac, the shell is bin/zsh, and environment variables can also be referred using the same. So in order to start with the environment variables which are being referred using this DW system, you have to import this class first, and after that there is a declaration of a variable result, which is an empty array. This is being used for some other purpose, so maybe we can ignore this as well. It's not, I was using it somewhere else, so just marking it as commented. Now if there is a variable which is non-existing, then it will return as null. If it is an existing variable like shell, it will return the exact value of it. Maybe in the Windows system it will return something else. And there is another way to retrieve this value of environment variable shells, DW system environment dot shell. So this particular thing is very common in our Java invocation method as well. So the third one and the first one are more or less the same. The only difference lies is between like how we are invoking, either giving the absolute path or if you have already included or imported the class file, then this is the better method. Why to repeat the things when we have already imported the class file? So within the system class DW, we are having only these two different functions: environment variable and environment variables. Okay, so this was about the system class. Now the next thing is about mule specific uh, DW functions. So I will be covering three functions over here, and the first one is the lookup. So there is a way within the DW function we can call up a looked up function. So just to let you know the construction of this particular use case, there is a main flow, and within the transform we are trying to make a lookup for a looked up flow which is being created just below it, looked up flow, and it sends out a argument test hello in set payload of looked up flow. What it does basically, payload test, and it put a world out against it, and then it appends the HTTP port. But how this value is being calculated? Mule colon colon p. P starts for the property file. Okay, so in order to specify the property file, what I have done, I have created one configuration properties. So just search with this configuration property. Okay, and once you open it, it will come up something like this. You have to specify environment properties or any other property or YAML file. So within environment or the property file, I have mentioned HTTP port as 8081, and I'm using this particular function of mule to get out the value of this HTTP port. So let's try to run this again. I will stop this guy and we'll run it again. It will take a couple of seconds to load, so let's wait for some seconds. So now it is being deployed. I will go to my Postman and let me check what is the listener. Okay, this is the same one. I will click on send button and let's see the output. Hello world 8081. Now let me explain how it is getting printed. From this transform message, I have sent hello as one of the string along with the space, and it goes to the looked up flow where this hello is being hello space world. Again, there is a space, and this particular value from the property file is being picked up and it is being printed because of world, and there is a space, and after that, the value of this port is coming out of the property file which we have used this mule colon colon p. Okay, so this was about the mule specific function. There is one more function which is being provided by mule data view. So just to give you an example how it will look like, caused by. Caused by is one of the function which is being used using mule class in data view. So what it does basically, it asks for two different arguments. The first one is the error element and the second one is the type of error. So earlier we used to have we can have the different conditions over here, right? So instead of that we can specify this particular combination as well. So if it returns true, then it will go to this, otherwise onto the second one, or to the third one accordingly. So this is being used normally in error identifying a error which is being thrown during the flow of the main or the any other flow in which it is being captured. So basically, caused by will try to catch the error type along with the element which is getting populated. So this was all about the three different classes of DataWave. We have covered DataWave URL, DataWave system, and the mule specific DataWave in which we have retrieved the property from a property file using DataWave function, dynamic lookup of one of the flow, and how we can use the cost by function of DataWave within the different scenarios. So I hope you like this video, and thanks for watching. Thank you.